I know the US and India are very different countries, but the point is that the
US and India are very different countries, but a lot of the problems we're having are same, but different. But still same. I know you're not supposed to judge a face by its cover, but like you could tell, like, I don't know, there's youthfulness and passion, and like there's vigor, there's energy, there's life here. Not a lot right here. So of course Hillary Clinton wants you to Pokemon Go to the polls so that they can spy on you even more. It's all linked to the CIA, man. Ah, they're turning the freaking frogs gay. Hindus for Trump?
very interesting is happening in US politics.
Yo, hold on. Nice axe there, brother.
Something very interesting is happening in US politics.
New York, New Jersey, Maryland, places which otherwise are blue states but have significant Indian American or American Hindu communities in them.
Now please join me now as we chant.
Yo, it's Tulsi. Look at her. God, she's beautiful.
The names of Krishna.
As a practicing Hindu, I have
What?
been on the receiving end of Hindu phobia.
Beyond the jokes, many Indian American voters are practical, looking for
Sick.
policies that benefit their career, family, and businesses. Under Trump, many saw favorable policies that supported skilled immigration, technology, partnership, and entrepreneurial growth.
So I'm a Hindu. That strand of sacrifice and duty.
Yo, I literally got to. I want to look up more Hindu videos for. So next week, guys, we're gonna look up a lot of Hindu stuff, just because there's a lot of things, if not everything, that Hindu picks up that puts down or whatever. I talk to like people about Christianity and whatnot. I even come at it from like a sense of in Christian lore, when you die, you go to heaven, and when you go to heaven, you receive a new body and a new name. And if heaven is a place on earth, isn't that kind of like reincarnation? No? Like I have like this weird, I think, blend of like Christianity and Hinduism. I really would like to explore Hinduism a lot more.
That's foundational to Hinduism.
In fact, 31% Indian Americans voted for Trump in 2024, up from 20% in 2020, whereas nearly 90% Indian Americans voted for Obama. Some exit polls even say that as many as 45% Indian American males were leaning towards voting for Trump. That is a very radical shift in just a few years. And as you may have noticed, all of a sudden, some Hindu Americans and Indian Americans are very prominent figures in the Republican Party.
Trump may be assembling the most pro-India cabinet in American history.
That's pretty cool. Trump is been the most pro-Indian cabinet in American history. Very interesting. The Sham Sharma Show. What is the trident? Why is the trident so prevalent in your language? What does this represent? Not language. You know what I mean.
What the hell is going on? Well, one very simple reason is that many Democratic leaders and progressive activists in the US have been very openly anti-Indian and anti-Hindu. In the guise of attacking Hindutva and Modi's Hindu nationalism, they've been attacking every single aspect of Indian Americans' culture. The New York City Democratic mayor called the Ram Mandir float a symbol of hate.
The Democratic Party is not your friend. The Democratic mayor of New York called the Ram Mandir float a symbol of hate.
I don't like stuff like that. I want to hear it straight from the mayor's mouth. I don't want to hear it from somebody quoting him, because that could be I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt.
Democratic politicians like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib have been particularly outspoken against Indian national security issues.
Why has the Biden administration been so reluctant?
Lord Shiva, that was his weapon, was a trident? Very cool. Cool. And did that have to deal with like thunder and control of the weapon? Is the main weapon of Shiva?
To criticize Modi's government on human rights. What will it take? How much does the Modi administration have to criminalize? Our partnership with India is strategic, but it's also based on our shared values of democracy, religious pluralism, and the respect of human rights. Under Modi and the BJP government, all of these mutual values have been threatened. And I think we have to understand the situation is in Kashmir as part of an overall Hindu nationalism project.
Omar and Tlaib both boycotted Prime Minister Modi's speech in the American Congress. Many Democrats like Tlaib or Ilhan Omar framed India's abrogation of Article 370 as an occupation of Kashmir, which basically towed the separatist line and the line of the Pakistani ISI, a terrorist organization.
Yo, I don't like that sheep head as a logo. That freaks me out.
That funds multiple terrorist organizations organizations throughout the world. Ilhan Omar even visited Pakistani-occupied Kashmir. In 2019, Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal introduced a resolution in the US House of Representatives criticizing India's actions in Jammu and Kashmir following the abrogation of Article 370. The Democratic Party has openly worked with deeply anti-Hindu organizations like Equality Labs, who have massively overblown the existence of caste discrimination in the US. In fact, Equality Labs posted on their Instagram that the Democratic Party has endorsed the anti-caste discrimination bill SB 403, which will basically single out the Indian American or the Hindu community for extra surveillance from the American government and security agencies.
Isn't that awesome? The extra like diversity inclusion thing. It sounds like it's nice, but when you apply it, you look into what it's doing. It's singling out Americans here and putting them under extra surveillance just because of a certain last name or ethnicity. Kind of crazy.
Such bills have been introduced in places like Chicago, Portland, Seattle as well, all of which are Democrat-controlled areas. The Democrats have hook, line and sinker bought into the anti-Hindu rhetoric of groups like Equality Labs and ignored the fact that all of Equality Labs' major claims were thoroughly debunked by actual scientific reports put out by organizations like the Carnegie Endowment. The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace conducted a comprehensive study of Indian Americans in 2020 titled
"You're from Kashmir? Wait, you're from Kashmir? Where we can go snowboarding? Vench, do you snowboard? Do you shred at the mountain?"
Social Realities of Indian Americans results from the 2020 Indian American Attitude Survey. This report provides a detailed overview of Indian American attitudes and reveals some very interesting insights, particularly around the topic of caste discrimination, or rather, the lack of it within the community. The study found that contrary to the popular belief and media narratives, there was minimal evidence of caste discrimination within the Indian American community. In fact, only 5% of the respondents reported experiencing any discrimination based on.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine. I mean, I know for a fact I have some Indian neighbors, and they were like celebrating Diwali not too long ago at the beginning of November, and I always engage and have great conversations. Especially I got to show them the YouTube and everything, so it was great. But like, I think most of the hate from Indians comes on online. I think a lot of the hate comes from online, not IRL, not here in the States at least.
On caste. This finding completely obliterates a narrative that is deeply held by members of the Democratic Party that portray caste as a pervasive issue in Indian American social and professional circles. In fact, 53% of Indian respondents said that they do not even personally identify with any caste group. That's how diluted the caste issue is in America. The Carnegie Endowment study explicitly critiques the Equality Lab survey on caste, exposing its skewed data, and said that it does not represent the Indian American population in America. So you have the Democratic Party here on the one hand, openly alienating the Indian American community. On the other hand, Trump personally has made some very clear overtures towards the Indian American community. He attended a charity event organized by the Republican Hindu.
It's cool to see that Trump, or let me take that back. Trump probably sees the Indian culture and how much work ethic is instilled within it. It probably tips his hat to it and wants America to like take a page from it.
Coalition, where he's
and if leadership and all that is trickled from the top down, he's leading by example.
Said this:
"I am a big fan of Hindu and I am a big fan of India. Big fan."
I swear I didn't watch this video beforehand. Damn, I'm on it.
He has appeared with Modi in events like Howdy Modi and Namaste Trump, and
holding hands. Look at that.
Seems to have a really good relationship with him. He has supported India on important national security issues like the abrogation of Article 370, the Citizenship Amendment Act, as well as India's conflict with China in Doklam. Trump also supported India's banning of Chinese apps and said that this is something that he would like to emulate even in America. Now, this is not to say that the Republicans, the party of the hardcore Christians, is somehow now in love with the Hindus. But as of yet, let's be clear, they have not gone out of their way to demonize and destroy the Hindu community in the
definitely a lot more open to have conversation, right?
Way the Democrats have. And as we will see,
at least that's what I hope you guys feel.
Has actually made a good space for itself within the Republican Party and now are being openly quoted by top Republicans like Trump. Trump has also rejected the alt-right racist groypers and their Project 2025 quite openly in the media, as well as in his campaign speeches, which has also made communities of color like blacks, Latinos, and Indian Americans feel more comfortable in supporting him.
I denounce white supremacy, okay? Wait, are you listening? I denounce white supremacy.
And now, as I said,
He's like, are you listening? I denounce it. I stopped bringing it up because I've said I denounce it already.
And we have examples of Hindu Americans and Indian Americans occupying prominent positions in Trump's new cabinet. One of them is Vivek Ramaswamy, an Indian American.
He is one of my favorite people in office right now. Him, Elon, RFK, Tulsi. Those are my top 4, 100%. Now maybe Kash Patel.
An entrepreneur and conservative politician known for his strong alignment with Trump's policies and ideals.
President Trump, I believe, was the best president of the 21st century. It's a fact.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours.
He is so smart and well-spoken and off the cuff. He is too goddamn good.
But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not.
If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
First two people.
Ramaswamy is a multimillionaire and a former biotech executive known for founding Roivant Sciences and achieving considerable success in the pharmaceutical sector. He's also known for his sharp criticism of what he calls woke capitalism. And
he fires bullets from the mouth? You're telling me that's his jujitsu? Vivek Swamy? He has mouth bullets? If he was in Jujutsu Kaisen, that's his shit? If it was a nin ability, he has the ability to create shit and spit it out? That's a weird power. I mean, shit.
because of this, he has garnered popularity among young conservatives and advocates for limited government intervention and free markets.
That's a really weird mutation and kind of like going against anti-war, but I fuck with it.
Interestingly, despite being such a big supporter of Trump and a big proponent of the Republican Party, he is also someone who is proud of his Hindu roots and someone who didn't feel the need to abandon his culture in order to further his own political career.
God has a name, and Hinduism is a wicked pagan religion, and it's completely incompatible with America. So
Whoa! I'm letting you know right now, most Americans do not think that way.
So my challenge, I guess, to you going forward would be to say who this God is.
Run for U.S. president at the age of 37 as somebody who's been in business, who's actually, the easiest thing to call myself some Vic Ramsey and pretend to be a Christian. Got other people on that debate stage last time who shortened their names and called themselves to be a Christian too. I'm gonna man up and tell you who I am, and believe me, your suspicion is off base. Questioning the motivations of what somebody is and get to the content of where there's an actual difference of opinion.
And now Vivek's support.
Damn. And I bet you that dude who's talking about it is conflating like Islam and Hinduism.
For Donald Trump has brought him to the forefront.
Because from what I understand with Hinduism, it's all about like peace, love, and positivity, I guess. I don't know. I need to learn more about it, I suppose.
Of Trump's political campaign rallies, making him a dynamic figure in conservative circles and a rising voice among young Republicans. Trump also invited Vivek Ramaswamy to the stage in Vegas to speak about him. Trump also expressed strong admiration for Vivek, calling him smart as hell and noting his impressive skills as a candidate who initially posed tough competition to him.
Smart as hell is a great way to describe Vivek.
Like a machine gun.
He's like a machine gun.
Come on up here, Vivek. All right, now he's a great guy, great future.
Great future.
I want you to give it up for the greatest president of the 21st century standing right here, Donald J. Trump. We had a secure border.
In every religion there's extremists? Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Economy.
I think if you take the roots of it, though, most religions just want you to be a good person, be good to the people that you love, give back to the community, respect to the ones that came before you, and respect nature because this planet is a very beautiful and precious thing. I think ultimately they're all kind of obfuscating around that, no?
People were living prosperous lives with crime going down in this country.
Trump also hinted that Ramaswamy could play a prominent role in his next administration, acknowledging his talents and saying that we can put him in charge of one of these big monsters. And
he is. He's a part of Doge with Elon, which I think is probably the highest like praise you could probably get from Trump.
Now, in a move that has surprised many people, Trump has appointed Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge.
Reject the impulse. It's going to happen in the next 4 years. We will face temptation to say that we want to replace that left-wing nanny state with a right-wing nanny state. The right answer to that question is hell no. The right answer is to dismantle the nanny state.
The goal is to streamline government operations, reduce wasteful spending, and bring a touch of Silicon Valley, move fast and break things attitude to Washington, D.C. This department is apparently influenced by Argentina's leader, Javier Milei.
Ministerio de Turismo y Deporte. Afuera.
Dude, this guy is great. This is the president for El Salvador. Fantastic.
Ministerio de Cultura. Afuera. Ministerio de Ambiente
Afuera.
y Desarrollo Sostenible. Afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad.
Afuera.
Ministerio de Obras Públicas.
Afuera.
Aunque te resista.
Javier Milei, known for his libertarian views, launched a sweeping plan to deregulate the economy, eliminating or changing
Argentina, not El Salvador. Argentina. Thank you. Thank you. That was so American, wasn't it?
300 government.
Get 30% off unlimited creative assets from Envato this cyber sale. That's unlimited down.
Rules,
I'm an idiot.
Including those on rent and labor practices. One of Doge's main objectives is to cut through the infamous red tape that often entangles federal.
God, I'm so glad my chat is smarter and more wealthy than I am. God, you guys are so smart and so rich.
Operations. By streamlining processes and eliminating unnecessary regulations, the department aims to make government services more efficient.
Vance, you're new here. I know this is your first time. I call out the chat being rich because every time on YouTube they call me out for having ads. If I win the lottery, there will be signs. My YouTube will no longer have ads. But until then,
now Musk has suggested potential cuts.
I'm just letting you know.
$2 trillion from governmental red tape, although it is unclear over what period this would occur. Again, achieving such savings would require significant reductions in various federal programs and services, which could face serious resistance from lawmakers, the bureaucracy, and the public. More resistance than they could possibly realize because they're going up against the big, massive Washington establishment. I mean, look at India. Modi has tried to reduce his dependence and the Indian government's dependence on the Indian bureaucracy and has not succeeded so far. I know the US and India are very different countries, but the point is that the
US and India are very different countries, but a lot of the problems we're having are same, but different. But still same. Very similar.
Bureaucracy has a lot of power and a lot of influence and is deeply embedded into the government. Vivek has been talking about having a program like this for a couple of years, so in a way, he has gotten exactly what he wanted in the new Trump administration. Whether or not this turns the lumbering American government into a lean, mean machine or into a free-for-all mess where all the guardrails are off and the US economy goes teetering into an unregulated mess, that remains to be seen. Trump has thrown the challenge to Vivek. Now Vivek has to sink or swim, and his political career depends on how successful this endeavor is going to be. But again, a Hindu American has been given such a big responsibility, and that speaks volumes about the new Republican Party and how this new party wants to be seen. Then let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard, who is a Hindu congresswoman from Hawaii. She made history in 2012 as the first Hindu and first American Samoan in Congress, representing Hawaii in the 2nd Congressional District. Her anti-war stance and commitment to veterans issues quickly made her a distinctive voice.
There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
She also holds the rank of Major in the Hawaii Army National Guard, demonstrating a commitment to public service through her dual roles in politics.
Also, just look at the two people standing next to each other. Which one looks like they have more character, more resolve, looks better? I know you're not supposed to judge a face by its cover, but like, you could tell, like, I don't know, there's youthfulness and passion, and like, there's vigor, there's energy, there's life here. Not a lot right here.
Politics and military. She also made history as the first Hawaii state official to voluntarily step down from office to serve in a combat zone, deploying with the Hawaii Army National Guard in 2004. She also gained experience on the national stage, working on the staff of
That is fair.
U.S. Senator Daniel Akaka. Gabbard rose within the Democratic Party, serving as the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee from 2013 to 2016. However, her support for Bernie Sanders during the 2016 primaries marked the beginning of a shift away from the party leadership. She saw the way that the Democratic primaries were rigged to take the nomination away from Bernie and hand it to an establishment insider like Hillary Clinton, who was a historically unlikable candidate who eventually lost the election to Trump. I wonder why that could have happened.
Thank you, good night, and may the force be with you.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go.
Oh my God, stop. Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Oh my god, that hurt. That just made me cringe. Yo, we just did a whole video. Pokemon Go is spying on you. So, of course, Hillary Clinton wants you to Pokemon Go to the polls so that they can spy on you even more. It's all linked to the CIA, man. Ah, they're turning the freaking frogs gay.
I guess we'll never know. This discontent culminated in her departure from the Democratic Party in October 2022, citing a shift away from the values she once held dear.
I can no longer remain in today's...
Welcome to the American circus? No, welcome to the American government. Which is so sad. Hopefully, with strong-ass, badass individuals like this in office, we can start making a change.
Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who were driven by cowardly wokeness.
Although she leaned a bit too heavily on the trans debate for my liking, but apparently that was something that really mattered to the voters as well.
Yeah, because we don't want men playing in women's sports. I'm sorry.
Seeing on how they ended up voting in the 2024 elections. In October 2024, Gabbard's political evolution took a dramatic turn when she officially joined the Republican Party.
Proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party. Nominating this man to be the Republican nominee for president because of his commitment to these fundamental American principles of freedom and peace and prosperity.
Gabbard then shared her view that the Democratic Party had strayed away from its original values, calling it unrecognizable in its current form. She also expressed her alignment with Trump's commitment to non-interventionist foreign policy, focusing on diplomacy and avoiding unnecessary military engagements. She has also criticized the Biden administration's foreign policy as overly aggressive, warning that it could lead to heightened global tensions and increased risks of conflict. And now, her shift to the Republican Party seems to have been rewarded quite highly, because Trump has tapped Tulsi Gabbard to be the next director of national intelligence. So to understand this position better, let's skip back to 2004, where post 9/11, lawmakers got together and thought, we need somebody, or we need an agency.
Tulsi is a badass woman. I love the way she speaks and the aura she is unmatched by anyone. Forget about Kama. I agreed. Thumbs up. Requote. Repost. Bookmarked.
That is going to coordinate the efforts between the various security agencies of the country, and thus the role of Director of National Intelligence, or DNI, was born. The job is actually quite simple: to coordinate the 17 federal intelligence agencies, including the CIA and the FBI and the NSA. So basically, the FBI and the CIA will be reporting to the DNI, who's going to be Tulsi Gabbard. The DNI is also the principal advisor to the President, the National Security Council, and the Homeland Security Council on all things intelligence related. They oversee everything from counterterrorism and cybersecurity to that new trend all the kids are into: foreign interference in elections. So now, when the Islamists around the world complain...
So she is literally in charge of America's dirty work. That's gonna be a lot of stress. She may grow another gray streak in that.
About
That's
a
a
Hindu
stressful
conspiracy
job.
when terrorists die, they might actually have a point. She'll also be briefing the president daily on all the intel gathered overnight, from potential threats to top secret high stakes intel for dummies breakdowns. Now, this is a very big responsibility given to someone who has just recently joined the Republican Party. So the Trump administration has clearly shown that Tulsi is somebody they hold in very high regard. She's somebody that is very high ranked in Trump's inner circle and will be working with the president on a daily basis. Now we come to another Indian American who might not be as well known as the other two people I just talked about.
Kash?
And that is Kash Patel. He's an influential figure in the Trump administration. He had a significant impact on national security.
Let's go, Kash!
Patel's career began in
Cash money.
national security when he joined the Department of Justice, where he worked as a terrorism prosecutor. He later moved to the House Intelligence Committee, playing a pivotal role in some of the most high-profile investigations under Chairman Devin Nunes. He was instrumental in the committee's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 US elections, focusing on the allegations of FBI and DOJ misconduct.
Man, Vance, you are not kidding, dude. This guy really is the Johnny Sins of like government jobs.
His work culminated in the Nunes memo, which criticized the FBI's handling of surveillance practices. The memo received widespread attention and drew praise from Trump and his supporters. bolstering Patel's reputation as a dedicated and formidable figure within Republican circles. Patel also worked in the National Security Council, where he worked as a senior counterterrorism director. His work involved shaping policies related to counterterrorism operations and national security strategy, including efforts to counter ISIS and manage threats from terrorist groups. After that, Patel was appointed as Chief of Staff to Acting Defense Secretary from 2020 to 2021. As Chief of Staff, Patel was one of the most influential figures at the Pentagon because he played a key role in defense
Where are
policy
all these
decisions.
badass people in India? With you guys having such a young population, I know there are some badasses amongst you, especially now with the internet being so cheap and the internet and the internet culture kind of becoming this global phenomenon. That's why I'm so excited to see what happens, because Modi is great. If people really do see Grandpa Modi, eventually people will rise up and understand that there needs to be the next generation that has to carry on and be progressive and turn into India into a great superpower, into like the top 3 in the world, right? I definitely believe you guys have some people right around the corner who are going to spawn, who are going to be some wonderful people, right? But everything works in balances. Yin and yang is real. So when there are some great people that are coming to light, that are doing great things, understand that there's some evil festering in the darkness.
Troop withdrawal plans from Afghanistan, and streamlining intelligence operations. His appointment was part of a broader reshuffle that aimed to align the Pentagon's policies with the Trump administration. With Trump's return to the White House, Patel's name has once again emerged as a contender for a top intelligence post.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day 1 and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000
Oh, yes, sir.
employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
And our
sick
biggest enemy against that truth is the deep state. And we are on a mission to annihilate the deep state.
And to those in Congress who aided and abetted this corrupt criminal activity, and we should look at who was responsible for what and whether there was any ill will in it.
Dude, he is unhinged. I'm here for it, though. I'm here for a little chaos.
To suppress evidence from federal investigators.
There were rumors that Kash may handle the CIA, but Donald Trump appointed John Ratcliffe as the new CIA director. But it is now being reported that he could end up heading the FBI.
Kash Patel may be the new director of the FBI, and Tulsi Gabbard may be the new head of DNI, the director of national intelligence, which, as you know, all 17 intelligence agencies, including the Central Intelligence Agency, report up to that.
And while we're talking about Hindu faces in the Trump administration, let's talk about Usha Vance, who is now going to be the second lady of the United States. She's all set to make history.
This is true. This is J.D. Vance's wife.
The very first Indian American and the very first Hindu second lady of the United States. She represents a very unique blend of cultural heritage and conservative values, and she's an accomplished person in her own right. She has a distinguished legal career, having served in prestigious clerkships with 2 of the most influential conservative figures on the U.S. Supreme Court, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And
I did not know that.
Though she's not directly involved in any official capacity with the Trump administration, her presence as the second lady and her alignment with Trump and J.D. Vance's policies give her a very visible role and could provide the Indian American community a figure that they could latch onto with the Republican Party. And with a visible position, she could play a pivotal role in GOP outreach, particularly to culturally diverse communities. Trump had previously also shown a willingness to elevate Indian Americans to high positions with Ajit Pai, who was the head of the FCC, and Nikki Haley, who was the
Vance, is also another reason why I don't feel like the Trump would enforce, like 100% tariff on India and things like that. I understand with BRICS as an organization, but India is a pivotal point and player in that organization. So I feel very strongly, and I think India and America is going to have a beautiful relationship in this next, 2025 to 2030, 2040. I think America and India are hopefully building a great relationship. You're saying America's in great hands? Damn, do I feel proud to be an American right now.
Former UN ambassador in the Trump administration, who were also both big proponents of developing a good relationship between India and the United States. So now you see here a clear coating of the Indian Americans by the Republican Party and a clear attempt by Republicans to revamp their image by providing more space and visibility to Indian Americans and people of color within their party. They want to portray themselves as the Republican Party of the future, less focused on race and more focused on small government and conservative values. Contrast this with the Democratic Party that has been doing its absolute best best to alienate the Indian Americans. I mean, going out of their way. I mean, there's one thing to not like someone, but there's another thing to send them 10 fuck you emails a day and throw poop at their house when you're driving past it. That's basically what the Democrats have been doing with the Indian Americans, and particularly the Hindu Americans. And so every action has a reaction.
Well, I don't understand. If Kamala is Hindu, how is that even happening? How is she even allowing that?
Shockingly, and I know you're going to find this very hard to believe, but Indian Americans actually don't like their culture and beliefs abused. I know it's wild, they're a strange people. And so over the last few election cycles, there's been a very clear shift among Indian Americans, many of whom are Hindu, towards the Republican Party. And personally, I think it presents a great opportunity for the Indian Americans. This is the highest earning demographic in America, one of the most well-educated demographics in America, a demographic that assimilates seamlessly into the country, adopts America as their home, and American culture as their own culture. But for the longest time, they've been sidelined by the Democrats, and the only affirmation that they get from the Democrats is the odd Diwali party or a Democrat politician dancing to a Bollywood song. While on the other hand, the Democrats introduced bills that would lead to singling out of the Indian American community and enhance surveillance against them. Essentially, the Democrats have used the Indian American community like a condom. So it's time that the Indian American community maybe starts to think a little differently and maybe take a page from the Jewish American community's playbook. The Jewish American community has long wielded its influence within both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, utilizing a combination of political, financial...
If you ask some uncles around Christmas time, apparently that community is also interwoven within everything. They're controlling everything. They're controlling the New World Order.
And organizational strength to ensure that their interests are represented.
I don't
Indian
believe
Americans
that.
could do the same with the Republican Party. Jewish communities have mastered the art of targeted donations to influence policy. Groups like
He said it, not me.
AIPAC have shown that money talks, and organized efforts can shift policies in a way that benefit the community. Jewish voters often organize well enough to vote as a bloc in certain areas that can decide key elections. Indian Americans are also a decent size of the population in certain battleground areas, and their votes in these key areas could dramatically change elections and thus could dramatically impact policy and representation through concentrated voting patterns. There is a serious opportunity here for the Indian American community to really have their voices heard and really have their interests taken care of. It's up to them if they can take this chance. And what do you think? Do you think the Indian American community is making a mistake by leaving the Democratic Party, the party of the so-called minorities, and joining the Republican Party? Do you think they should join the Republican Party? And what steps do you think the Indian American community could take to ensure that their interests are taken care of? Also, what do you expect in terms of performance from people like Vivek Ramaswamy and Tulsi Gabbard? Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. As usual, guys, if you've not already, please become a member.
This guy is great. This is a great channel. I'm gonna definitely have to subscribe, and we're gonna follow and do more reaction to his stuff. But I personally love seeing it. I've been outspoken on how much I've loved Tulsi. I've said this since like 2016. I've been a big Tulsi fan for forever, for as long as I've seen her come on the Joe Rogan Experience and actually speaking. You could see the human that is her. She's amazing. And Vivek, I mean, the dude is as sharp as a tack. He is literally he's so good.